Dallas Cowboys, and I want to give a major shout out to Mike Tag. Keep bringing the hype to the Cowboys Nation. We love and appreciate it. Now, can you dig it? Let's get it.
What's up, Cowboy Nation? What is up? Welcome to another little edition, a special edition of Coffee and Cowboys. I do this every now and then on a Sunday morning. First, just of course, got to say Happy Mother's Day to all the great moms. Hopefully, you guys all the fellas are doing something special for your mother, your wife, all that good stuff. So definitely make sure you guys get that done. It's been, as you guys, if you followed me, it's been a good weekend. My son graduated high school, which is always something. It's a proud moment for a parent. But also makes you think, man, time flies, man. Time flies. And my son he's 18 and hadn't seen the Cowboys in the Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl, more importantly. So it also reflects on that, how lucky I was to be in high school and see the Cowboys win three Super Bowls in 4 years around that same era. So hopefully we get it done and get back to business this season. I know there's a lot of excitement. The schedule is out, so definitely we want to talk about that. And really Dak Prescott. That's something, just wanted to spend some time with you guys on that. So if you're live, make sure you hit a comment, question, thoughts. If you're watching this later, leave a comment. Of course, we are live every Monday and Thursday continuously with Jimmy D on Mondays, and we got Kelly K9. Man, we rip it up. We had a great draft show. And thank you to everyone who participated in that. That was a hell of a lot of fun, man. We had a good time and looking at this schedule. It's got some excitement. Your boy's going to be there for the Jets game, home opener, after we take care of the Giants up in New York on Sunday night. And then we'll head back and get this season started right. But, there's a lot of concern about Dak Prescott. And, I guess maybe rightfully so. It was a tough season when you look at his interceptions last year. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on it, but looking at his numbers, is it aberration? Is it a trend? Is it what we're seeing? Because if you look at his interception percentage, and that's what everyone's honed in on, is the interception percentage, he doubled what he's done his whole career as far as percentage. And, his whole career has been very consistent at about 1.8%, and it went up to 3.8 this last season. So, again, is it just one weird year where the balls bounce different ways? You didn't have the different receivers, but he had pretty much the same guys, except he didn't have Amari Cooper. Was Amari Cooper the big difference there? Obviously, it was definitely a downgrade going from Cooper to Noah Brown. No disrespect to him, but it just ain't they ain't the same. And I think the Cowboys they rolled the dice with getting rid of Cooper, and I think a lot of us thought that we were gonna get maybe some production from our draft pick Jalen Tolbert. You're gonna get Gallup back, but obviously that didn't pan out. So could that have been the issue with Dak Prescott? And I know some people say, oh, you got Dak's always getting these excuses, and everyone's trying to come up with reasons why. But I mean, if you look at the numbers for him consistently, he's been there. Like I said, his interception percentage has always been 1.8, 1.5, 1.7, 0.9 his rookie year, went up to 2.7 that 2017 year. And interesting on that 2017 year, that's when they, I think Des Bryant was gone that year. They went with that. Who'd they get? They got my man from the U, Alan Hearns, and they got, a few other guys. I think that might have been the year. I can't remember. But I think that's, when they transitioned to a different type of offense, I think. But maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure. But anyway, that was really the only admiration that I saw in his interception percentage going up some. But four of his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of his 7 years, he's been under 2%. So I'm thinking we're going to see that Dak Prescott this year. I think obviously The addition of Brandon Cooks to the team is going to be a big help. You're getting Gallup back, from that second year off of that ACL. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb, man, I mean, he's just going to continue to take it to that next level and continue to do great things for the Cowboys. Tight end, you lose Dalton Schultz, and he loves his tight ends. So it's just a matter of, can the young guy from Michigan come in and do it? Or is it, you got Ferguson and you got you got Hendershot. So it's going to be interesting to see. Let's see what my man, Cowboy Brown, when Dak can keep his passing attempts below 40 a game, he's fine. But Dak is only 7-14 when thrown. Yeah. And, when you see a lot of those numbers, some of that is 100% accurate. Some of it is they fall behind, so then you're throwing a whole bunch. It was like that John Madden always used to say, I'll go back to the Emmitt Smith days. He's like, Emmitt Smith carries the ball 25 times a game. The Cowboys, never lose. Well, a lot of that happens is because they're ahead of the game. They're running the ball a whole bunch. So, you think you just give them the ball 25 times in a row and you win the game. It don't work out that way. But I do agree. I think Dak is at his best when he's got a good running game, work off the play action, and just be, God, people don't like to hear it, but be a game manager. Be someone that limit the mistakes, let your receivers do the work for you a little bit, hit them in open space. And I think if you look at what McCarthy's offense is going to bring, I think that's going to be, dare I say, Dak friendly. I think that's going to be something that's gonna give him that opportunity and give the receivers the opportunity to make plays in open spaces, reduce the thinking. Like I said, I'm not an X and O guy by any stretch, but everything I heard about Kellen Moore's offense, it was always option routes. The receiver, has the option. The quarterback has the option. So they got to be on the same page the whole time. And if you look at Mike Martz, who was an offensive, he was on the Greatest Show on Turf. He's the offensive coordinator, then later became on, to be the coach. He broke down every Dak Prescott interception, and there was a ton of them that was basically just a lot on miscommunication through the receiver. But at the end of the day, that's on the quarterback. I mean, the quarterback, he's holding the ball, he's controlling the ball. It's just the way it goes. The same thing with tip passes. You love not them to count to the quarterback, but they do. That's just the way it is. So I'm interested to see, and I'm excited to see how this offense is going to look under Mike McCarthy, kind of really controlling it. He's never really had that opportunity. And I said it before, is he's an offensive mind. And when he came to the Cowboys, it was to, improve the offense and obviously all the other things that go with it. But when you tell him, hey, that your offensive coordinator, we're keeping him from the previous regime, that's going to be your offensive coordinator. He said all the right things, but you kind of saw as the years kind of went going, he was quick to give suggestions that that's not kind of the way he would do the offense. He would script the plays. So this is really going to be on him, and the pressure's on Mike McCarthy. And I mean, I can't believe you say that. The guy was 12-5 the last 2 years, and the pressure's on. But I think the pressure is on because obviously the fan favorite is always the guy in the wings, and that's Dan Quinn. And a lot of people are saying, well, if McCarthy doesn't get it done, then Dan Quinn will move right in. I would just say, all right, Dan Quinn goes in there. What does that do to your offense? You're going to have to get an offensive coordinator. You're going to have to redo different things. So I'm hopeful and I'm pretty confident that the Cowboys will definitely get this thing going. What's up, Troy? Man, I'm just chilling here, on a Sunday morning, just shooting it with Cowboys Nation and having a good time, man. Have my Cowboys cup of coffee, kicking it with you guys, getting ready to have a little graduation party. Like I said, my son graduated high school, so we're having a Mother's Day / graduation party this morning. So wife's out getting the hamburger meat and all that kind of stuff, so I can put on my Cowboy chef's hat and get to work. But until then, like I said, I just wanted to kick it with you guys. And again, with the channel, we're picking up new subscribers all the time, so we definitely appreciate the support. But again, if you guys haven't had a chance or opportunity or new to it, go look at the playlist and go look at some of the great interviews we did with former Cowboys, former coaches, Barry Switzer, Dave Campo, and a lot of former Cowboys and former NFL players. That the tie always comes back to the Cowboys, whether it be a Steeler or Redskin, or try to get some Eagles on, but they seem to be afraid to come into the cave. They always impolitely decline. So, so we'll see what happens. But hey, Michael, good morning. Hopefully, you guys are doing good. Hopefully, you got the flowers for the wife, for the mom, all that kind of good stuff. But just been kicking it, looking at the schedule as well with Dak Prescott. This is why I say it. This is an opportunity for him to silence the critics, and it could happen early on. I mean, Sunday night, we all kind of know we should handle the Giants. I mean, that's just the way it is. Don't want to take them for granted. But you're going to get Aaron Rodgers week 2. Aaron Rodgers has been a nemesis to the Cowboys, obviously with the Packers. We hadn't got a hold of him in a number of years. He's ripped our heart out. So he's gonna get that opportunity at home opener to see what he can do and kind of get that monkey off his back, so to speak, almost like Tom Brady last season when we thrashed him in the playoffs and put him out to pasture and retirement. So he's got that. Obviously, the Cardinals have been a thorn on our side, so that's another interesting one. Patriots have always been, they're a tough team. We had a lot of fun. Obviously, I think that was the CD Lamb overtime game, so that was really cool. I remember that one well. But week 5, on my birthday, going back to the scene of the crime, going back to San Francisco. This is a game, if you want to circle something on the calendar, you hate to do that, but it's my birthday more importantly. That's why you want to circle it on the calendar. But this is a game where if you look at Dak Prescott and kind of where, people look at him and where they can really hit him hard, it's San Francisco. Both playoff games against San Francisco, not his best showing. Last season was really bad because the defense had a star effort and the offense just came up way short. So this is going to be what I would say the opportunity to see what he's, for he can prove the critics wrong and also really, I think, elevate this team. You go into San Francisco, you win on the road. I think it's a Sunday night game, if my memory is right. You go in there, that is going to be something to see. That's going to be something to see when they go in there and get that victory, because I think those are one of those signature games where things can go cruising. What's up? Well, I see T Mac in there. Go Cowboys, man. From Chris, running back still concerned. I've got to be I got to be straight with you too. I'm a running back guy. I've got an uneasy feeling about the running game. I think Tony Pollard, obviously, he's never been a workload, and I just go back. I go back to those other running backs that we had when we had that two-headed monster, and I believe I always get the Joneses mixed up, but I'm pretty sure it was Felix Jones when he became the man. It just kind of didn't really happen so much. Marion Barber, when he became the man, it didn't happen so much. So I think I don't know if Pollard can be the man. I don't know if he can be the man to be the main, number one running back, like the way Zeke was those earlier years. I think you need to have a two-headed monster, and I'm a little bit concerned. I'm not a big Jones fan. Malik Davis, I think he's shown some stuff, but again, it's unproven. You got Pollard coming off that injury, which he should be okay, but you never know. Deuce Vaughn, I love the pick. I think he's going to be one of those guys that he might get 5 to 7 touches a game, whether it be receiving, whether it be running. So I think he could be in the mix, but I don't think they've got the guy to replace Zeke yet. Which leads to maybe they bring Zeke back on a different role. I think Pollard's the guy that, probably gets the ball 60, 70% of the time, but, get a running back similar to Zeke's stature. If you're not going to get him, maybe Jones is the guy. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong if he's on the team. I think he was really brought in as more of a insurance policy if Pollard, makes it back late. But running backs are concerned. And I saw Kareem Hunt. I think he signed with someone. I mean, there's some running backs out there. If you want to 100% move on from Zeke, there's maybe some veterans out there that they can get. But it's going to be, if that running back's not getting going, if that running game's not working, man, it's just going to make things even more difficult for Dak Prescott. Prediction for our record this season from DJ. I hate predicting, but everything goes right. Injuries aside, everyone's healthy. I said it before, this schedule is brutal. It's a tough schedule. So when I say this, don't go hating on me, but I'm thinking 11-6, 12-5. I would be ecstatic if we fall into that with the schedule that we have, the road stretches that we have, the teams. The NFC East is no joke. Chargers on the road is not going to be an easy game, even though, of course, I think we're going to win that one. You know, we can't let Kellen Moore get the best of us, but I think that's it. But I think that could win I think that wins the division. I think we're going to win the division. I think the Eagles have a very difficult schedule as well. I think the whole NFC East does, obviously, because we're playing the AFC East. But everything goes right. I think that'll be it. It's going to be exciting, man. It's going to, that early part of the schedule, you know, when I was looking at it and you're talking about the Giants, you know, the Jets, the Cardinals, the Patriots, that Niners on the road, man, that's going to be the one. And then you come back and we go back to Cali and we got the Chargers on Monday Night Football. Then we go into our buys. So you got those first 6 games. If we come out the gate 4-2, 5-1, something, you know, really strong, and then you're coming off the bye, you're playing the Rams, which, don't sleep on them. I know that they've had their injuries last year wasn't good, but don't sleep on the Rams. Then you're going at Philly, which is, you know, that's going to be difficult. Make no mistake about it. We can't hate on them too much. Philly's the team to beat right now. You got to give them the respect of the NFC. Then you got the Giants at home, at Panthers, Thanksgiving against Washington, Seattle. I think that's a run there where they could just definitely chalk up some wins. And then you're talking about, you know, after that, you're getting Philly at home Sunday night. Your boy's going to be there. You know that's a victory. So you go ahead and chalk that up. I've never seen us lose against Philly when I'm there in person. At the end of the season, this is where you're talking 3 road games in 4 weeks, and at Buffalo, at Miami, Detroit at home, which Detroit, end of the season, could be very similar thought of what Jacksonville was. Could they be getting better as the year gets going? A young, hungry team. And then, of course, finishing up with Washington. The schedule's going to be, it's going to be interesting. There's going to be some roller coaster. It's a matter how this Cowboy team is built for it. 6-0 in the East. I mean, we've done well in the East. I would hope that we are. I want to be. I want to try and be realistic. I don't want to be too arrogant. I don't want to be too arrogant. Yeah, I'll give Philly's a good team, so we'll see. Yep, 12-5, 11-6. Rolling with 14-3. My man Michael Lockhart. I like, man. I'll do backflips with that schedule. I'll do backflips, and that's the thing. If you're looking at that schedule, I think we're a better team. I think we're a better team than last season. Maybe the record, maybe a little less if that happens, but I still think we're a better team. The interesting thing is going to see the other divisions. Like I said, you may get a Minnesota. You might get the San Francisco. You might get one of those teams that sneak in to get that wild card, the number 1 seed, because their schedule's not as difficult. And I think San Francisco has a tough schedule, so I probably shouldn't say them. But Minnesota might be that one. If they play like they did last year in a regular season, I mean, Detroit could be up and coming, right? You don't know. Chicago could be up and coming. You don't know. Green Bay looks like they're probably going to be heading south. So that division doesn't look very good. And then you've got the South, which I don't know. I don't know any of the teams are any damn good, but if one of them got hot, you can get a team that's not very good sneaking at that number 1 seed. And that makes a huge difference, man. You saw with Philly, I mean, the road they had, you're talking about the Giants at home, which was definitely an overachieving team. And then you play San Francisco, loser quarterback. They got the running back playing quarterback. I mean, you don't know, you know, that's your bet. You always want the easiest path to the Super Bowl. That's why I can't hate on them. But that's just the way it is. So we'll see what happens. Let's see what else going on in chat, man. I appreciate, I do this stuff. And I'm like, man, I don't know if anyone will pop in the morning, but you guys always do support the channel. So I do appreciate it. As if Kelly wanted to go to the Eagles game, waiting to hear back. Well, if he don't go out, your boy's going. So I will be there 100%. So I'm hoping it's going to happen. Be hanging with Cowboys Nation. So if you guys are going, make sure that you guys hit me up, because that's always a fun time. And that's what I said. Going to the Cowboy games, I've been very fortunate. It was a goal of mine to get season tickets 4 years ago. I guess it was, or maybe 5, whatever it was. I was able to get season tickets, so I can hit some games. And to me, the fun is everything leading up to the game. Getting in, going to Texas Live, meeting a lot of fans and Cowboy fans and just talking football, even the opposing fans. That's why I say Eagles. They're their fans always in Philly they always talk so tough on the chats, but every time I've gone there, man, I've sat at tables with Eagle fans and we just talk and they talk smack to each other and have a good time, and that's really what it's all about, man. So doing the tailgating, hanging out with Tuck and Nix and all the guys in Cowboys Nation, it's a lot of fun. The game is just the icing on the cake. And if we win, it's even, it's better icing on the cake. But it's such a good time, man. And I'm fortunate and thankful for the social media to take a, big Cowboys fan from Florida that now I get to finally, I didn't have that growing up. And now I've got a fan base that I can interact with, have fun with, tailgate with, and all of that. So I do definitely appreciate everything. Seahawks are going to be tough. Pete Carroll, I tell you what, very underestimated as a coach. What he did with Russell Wilson, trading him away, getting those picks. Some people might have called him crazy and they thought they're going to be rebuilding. They go right back to the playoffs. Now we'll see if Geno Smith was a lightning in a bottle. Can he do the same? We'll see what happens. But yeah, Seahawks are no joke. I think we could beat them at home. I would be honest with you. I think we're going to beat them at home. We should beat them at home. We're a better team. But you can't take any team lightly. And unfortunately, the Cowboys, they have they have this thing where they just kind of play a couple really bad games during the season. We saw it with Jacksonville. Your boy was there for that. And obviously Green Bay. So, are they past that? Hopefully they are. Chris got 11-6. And let's see who else we got. Troy for sure. Week 2's tailgate. Yes, definitely. Definitely. I'm usually hanging out in lot 10. I don't know where you guys are at, but I definitely make the rounds and it's a lot of fun. But looking at Dak Prescott, really the question is, do you guys have confidence in him to lead this team to the Super Bowl? Answer to me is yes. I've seen it. Consistency is going to be the word that you're going to constantly hear. And I think that's what everyone says. The haters are just going to hate just because it's just easy to do. You look at Justin Herbert, you look at Allen, you look at some of these quarterbacks that haven't had the playoff success. They always seem to get a pass. And for Dak Prescott, he's been to the playoffs, 6 times. He's 2-4. It's really not the results that he wants. Looking at again both San Francisco games, yeah, those are bad losses. We gotta own that one. The other loss against Green Bay. What was our 2018 playoff? The Rams. How could I forget that when they ran all over us? He didn't play bad in that game. He didn't play bad. Really, the 2 games that if you're going to hang your hat on for criticism of Dak Prescott in the playoffs is going to be the San Francisco games. I mean, but like I said, was the offensive coordinator scheming to put the offense in the best position to win? I don't know. If Tony Pollard doesn't get hurt in that San Francisco game, does it change it? That's to me really is the biggest question. And you can't look back. It is what it is. But Tony Pollard, he got things going, and then when he went out, it just seemed like everything just kind of got sucked with it. And I love Zeke. It just didn't seem like he had much left in the tank there. But if made me wonder why wouldn't they have brought in Malik Davis just to try and bring some juice to the offense, to the running game, bring Zeke in for pass protection because he's obviously better at pass protection than Malik Davis. But I just maybe would have brought some youth in to get some juice to it. So no, he's earned his playoff reputation. It is what it is. Just like, hopefully, Ultra, you say Justin Herbert's earned his playoff reputation, and maybe Allen's earned his because you're counting wins and losses. So those guys lose some. So, and I think Schoonmaker, I think I think he'll be. I don't know if he's going to be the best rookie, but I think he's going to be really impactful for that offense. I think the best rookie, what we can hope for, is our big guy from Michigan because we got to stop the run. If we don't stop the run, and we're gonna have some trouble. So I think he's got to be our best rookie, because that means we're gonna have the best defense, because that's the critical part for us, in my opinion, anyway. I think that defensive tackle position, if we can get that push from those guys and really free, Parsons and tank up. And you saw Quinn come out and said, you know, Parsons is a pass rushing linebacker. A lot of thoughts he'd make a full time move to DN. He's going to be there most of the time. That's just going to be the way it is. So I'd like to see with the defensive tackles, if we get that, could we move Parsons around a little bit, keep him fresh, keep him, keep the offenses, constantly wondering where he's at, where he's coming from. So it'll be interesting to see what Quinn does. But obviously, I've got all the confidence in him and what he's going to do. So it's going to be a lot of fun. My man, Ultra, what are we saying here? We got Michael Gallup, who is the most plugged in Cowboys reporter, said on 105 to 10, still be starting left guard. The only thing, Terrence Steele's a big dude. I think he's really tall on top of being a big dude. Uh, does that make for a great guard? I don't know. I mean, I'll leave that up to the experts. But I mean, if that's what they're saying, then I would say that you want to get I want to get the best five, and if best five linemen, and if that's what they feel the best five, I would like to see Tyler Smith stay at tackle. I don't really want to move him around. I think he's our future there, and he's earned that last season. I thought he played well. He had, of course, you have your rookie ups and downs, but um, I feel good with him. Tyron Smith, great career, all this and that. Good point, Ultra. Kevin Gogan, he was a big nasty man. So there you go. Maybe it'll work out. Yeah, Kevin Gogan. If he had that nastiness like Kevin Gogan, I'd be happy with that. That dude would start some fights, man. But I want to put our best five out there. So whatever they think the best five, and I think Tyron is part of that best five when healthy. And if he's open, to playing right tackle, or they may put him on left tackle. I just don't want to move Tyler all over the place. I think he's our future. I just don't want to mess with it. If he's doing well, leave him where the future lies with him and work everyone else around him. But I'm a fan of starting your best five. So whatever our best five is, let's roll with it. Let's make it happen. The only thing I would say is with Tyron, it's not if, it's when. He hasn't played 16 games in a very long time. It'd be pretty cool if the time was now, and it'd be 16 games, and that means we go to the Super Bowl and everybody's happy and we're partying, especially when we win the Super Bowl, because we're not like the Eagles. We just don't want to go. We want to win. We're not satisfied with that participation ribbon. We want to win the Super Bowl and win that championship. So that would be cool. But looking at the schedule, like I said, this is an opportunity for Dak Prescott to really, silence the critics, silence the haters, and it's going to be on him. We've got the weapons. Like I said, the only question mark, if you're going to give one, is on the running game. It's just if, and it's one of those if Pollard isn't back 100%, if we don't have that other, part of that running game, if Jones can be that guy, or do they go out and get someone else, or whatever they end up doing. I think Vaughn is not going to be your two. I think he's going to be that guy that is going to be kind of your, if you looked at Sproles back in the day, he's going to be that running back that they're going to use all different ways and give him 5 to 7 touches. So when we're winning the game and we need to grind it out, who's our running back to do it? I guess that's really what I want to say. If you believe in Pollard to just pound it and get it done, I don't know. I don't know if that's what we want from him. I don't know if that's his makeup. He's an outside guy. A lot of speed. I don't know if you want him to grind out the game. That's where I just don't know who's our running back for that. And maybe it's going to be Jones. Like I said, when we kick off the ball Sunday night against the Giants, whoever's on that damn roster, that's who I'm rolling with. So, and whoever that is, I got to have all the faith in the coaching staff that they're going to get the job done. So, yeah, it is a great way to start your morning. It is a great way. It'll be better when we start our mornings with some Cowboy victories. There'll be some Cowboy victories in there. Tyron will be the right tackle. No, I believe, I think that'll be the case. I think Tyron knows he's kind of at the last part of his career. So why mess with Tyler? I think that's true. So, Pre-game, if I'm not at the game, I will. If I'm not at the game, I will. But if I'm at the game, maybe we might mix in some live stuff. We might figure it out. We might figure it out. We'll get this thing going. But Cowboys have a great roster. No excuses. I 1,000% no excuses. Especially at the quarterback position. We've got the receivers. We've got the tight ends. We've got the line. The running game is going to be solid. It's just like I said. There's slight concern with me. That's just the way it is, man. I'm a run. I love the running game. I think that's the building blocks to the best teams. But I'm a Tony Dorsett and an Emmitt Smith guy, so I've seen what a great running game can do. So I'm going to believe that we'll get this running game going. The defense is as good as we've had probably since 2007, if not better. And that was a Super Bowl roster. So this is a Super Bowl roster. There is no excuse. If we stink it up, if Dak stinks it up with the interceptions and turning the ball over and this and that, then there's going to be a lot of concern of moving forward. What do you do? But like I said, looking at if you're an analytical guy and you go by the numbers and the trends, his interception percentage, like I said, every year but two were under 2%. 1 year was under 1%, and last year was 3.8%, more than any he's ever had, and double of every year he's had but one, and almost double that one. So I don't know if that's a trend. I think that might be an aberration. So we're going to see what happens. Is this the best roster we've had him belong to? Yeah, yeah. I said, since 2007, I would put this roster probably up against that one. If you're talking, since the 2000s, from the talent on off, I think the receivers are better than 2007. I mean, T.O. makes a big difference. He can almost make up for two receivers. Running game, like I said, I'm not 100% sure on that running game there. I think that the line is going to be comparable. I think the defense is there. I think this defense might be even a little bit better. And that was a damn good defense that we had in 2007. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be exciting, man. I just can't wait to get this thing rolling. I'm gonna take Ultra's word for it because Overshown. I never watched them. I never watched Texas play. The only Texas game I watched was against Alabama. I'm a Southeast ACC guy, so I will take your guys' word for it. I'm not a big. I'm not one of those draft guys, so I didn't study any of these players. I just welcome them when they come to the Cowboys, man. I just hope they do what they got to do to get this thing done. But I've heard great things about them. Some of the highlights I've seen seems fast, side to side, so it'll be interesting. Do you think we'll re-sign Zeke to fill the running game void? The interesting thing with Zeke, living in Tampa, that is, that's kind of the word now is he's going to be coming to Tampa. Have a little sip of coffee in the morning. And I believe Skip Pete is the running backs coach in Tampa, who was a running backs coach in Dallas with Zeke for a good bit. And he made some comments and people said he just kind of gave him tough love. I don't know if it's tough love or just harsh reality is where Zeke's at in his career. He's a backup and he's got to accept that backup role. If he came here, he may only get, 5 to 10 carries. He may be a short yardage guy, goal line guy, fourth quarter grind it out guy. And that if he's open to that role, I would welcome him back in 2 seconds because I just think that's I think short yardage, goal line, there's not many that even last year, there's not many that's been better. So it's all a matter of how his role is going to be if he were to come back or really with any team. He's got to accept that probably. He could be waiting to see if there's an injury and see what happens. But it's just the unfortunate part with the running game. And we talked to Joe Washington, last week, who was he was a solid running back in the NFL, finished his career with Washington. And it's just, these running backs just have a shelf life. And, it's odd because I'm used to, you seen Emmitt Smith play 15 years and he played at a great level for most of those years. And you just see these running backs just kind of hit the wall and then they just fall fast. And I think that's a lot of times when if I was a kid playing high school football now, running back probably wouldn't be the position I want to play, because probably look at cornerback or receiver, because they seem to be making all the money. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to come back in the locker room. He's a great locker room guy from everyone that, has kind of talked. I mean, I'm not in the locker room, so I got to take their word for it, but he seems like just a great guy, locker room guy. Got a lot of friends on the team. So I would love to see him back as long as it's in the role. The disappointing part, if I'm being honest, is, in that both San Francisco games in the playoffs, I'm watching the offense really move. And I think it was the first one more than the second one, I think. I saw the offense move with Pollard in there, and then they take Pollard out, and we just don't move. I think the coaches have got to be, hey, it is what it is, man. We got to put the best running back in there. I don't care who it is, and it's going into this season. If Pollard's a hot hand, go with him. If it's Malik Davis and he's steamrolling, man, roll with him. If it ends up being Jones and he's hot, roll with him. I think you always run the hot hand, especially running backs now. It seems more prevalent than ever. What do we got? This Mike, you're also a Miami Hurricanes fan. I'm a diehard fan. Okay, that's what I love, man. Love me some Canes, and we had Malik Rozier on the show. If you're a Canes fan, you can go back and check that. We talked about the Canes. We talked about the Cowboys, his thoughts on Dak Prescott. Had Coach Dennis Erickson on the show. Man, we live back to some good old days with the Canes, and I'm ready for some good times as well. We'll be at the A&M Canes game. We'll be at the Clemson Miami game down. I wish it was the OB, but is it the Hard Rock anymore? I think that might even change. I don't even know. I wish Miami would be back at the OB or get their own stadium. But yeah, no, love me some Canes, man. It's a lot of fun. Always good to get back home and again hang with the Canes fans too. So I think the Bulls down. Can Hunter make the team? And that's absolutely. I always forget about him. The free agent fullback that we got. If he comes in, he could fill that role, right? So he can be that power guy, and if he can do it, that would be great. I always get concerned, and I know a lot of free agent guys, they prove you wrong, but it's like, man, if he had that, if why wasn't he drafted? I mean, what happened? How come he want to get drafted? Yeah, small school. And I'm trying to think, if you guys know someone, think of an undrafted running back that had a lot of success. And was Priest Holmes undrafted? I'm not sure some other ones. I'm just trying to think, but that I don't know. I think running backs, for the most part, there's some heavy tiers where 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a guy drafted. It's going to be a big player. Now he could have a role, absolutely, and I'm hoping that he ends up being what I've seen on film, what I've seen everyone talk about, that he was a steal for us for free agency, to get him. And if he can do it, man, I'm all in, man. I'll get me a 100 jersey, man, and I'll rock that thing and get going. So I really hope that. I hope we can get something going there. So I don't see Zeke back. Love him. Yeah, no, I agree. I don't see him coming back. I don't see it happening unless it was an injury, unless it was something. I think that's kind of what he's maybe waiting for. I'm surprised that he hasn't, jumped on a team, but I think maybe it's something where he's having to accept the role changing. And I think when you've been the lead dog and you've been one of the top running backs in the NFL for 5 or 6 years, that'll be, that's something you got to look at. There you go. Terrell Davis, 7th rounder, but he was drafted. But 7th rounder, Terrell Davis. I mean, anyone who remembers Terrell Davis, all I think about is Denver. He was, trying to make the team, and he was on special teams. I think it was Tokyo, and it might have been the 49ers, where he ran in on a special teams thing and it just absolutely annihilated on a kickoff return, and he laid somebody out. That's what I love to see from these guys that are trying to make a team. And that's where you're going to look at the preseason. And that's why I think the preseason is so important. And I think it's been diminished. And I think the lack of practice, a lack of hitting, all that kind of stuff we talked about with other players, I think that's changed the game a little bit too. I think it's the physicality that you used to have in practice and with Jimmy Johnson, those 2-a-days and those hard, I think that conditioned you. But I think the other team, it built that team and that bond even stronger. So, but yeah, TD was, he only had a short run because of injuries, but that was a bad man. And of course, Ultras talk about our man Jimmy D. Monday nights, he's a big Knicks fan. Um, Now we're gonna see if Monday he wears that Heat gear because he had a bet with my son that he was gonna wear his Heat gear. He said the Knicks in 6. He should have said Miami in 6, and he would have got it right. He got the game numbers right, but yeah, he's probably not doing too good. He's probably not doing too good, man. I don't know about Jimmy. Phone went straight to voicemail when we called him. Then he texted back saying that he couldn't answer the phone. He was at a function, something like that. But I mean, do you find it hard to believe that as big a Knicks fan as Jimmy D is, that he wasn't sitting his butt in front of that TV watching that game? I find that very hard to believe. I think he's ducking and hiding. It almost reminds me of the Falcon game, in the Super Bowl. I always hate to bring that up to him, but you can't tell me Jimmy D wasn't jumping up and down 28-3. They're going to get their ring. And when they blew that lead, he was like MIA. He didn't answer his phone for weeks because if you grew up in our area, smack talking your friends is the ultimate thing. Your team can be 0-16, but if your buddy's team went to the Super Bowl and blew a lead, you're going to rag them until forever. And he could tell your team did this, and we'll just say, hey, we got a higher draft pick. That's all. That's the only difference. You got no ring. You got the lower draft pick. We got the higher draft pick. So what's it all about? So it's that's all. That's fun. So I don't know. We'll see if Jimmy shows up. Man, he might be calling in sick, and Uncle Cheech might have to come in a little bit sooner. So again, if you guys are new to the channel, we have some fun shows. Monday Night Live with Jimmy D and I. Obviously, Kelly, K9, the legend. We do a lot of fun on Thursdays. And we're going to be mixing in some other shows like here. We're also doing a fantasy football show. Your boy's not going to, I may pop in now and then, but we got a couple fantasy football experts are going to be coming in, breaking down the NFL for your fantasy teams, answering your questions, taking calls, doing all that kind of stuff. So if you look at this channel, we're just growing it to be fun. It's just fans, man. We're just fans kicking it and having a good time. So hopefully you guys check that out too. So let's see what we got. That's why the fumble hurts. So yeah. So always giving Jimmy a hard time. You'll be hiding. Now, Claudio, the only thing I'll say about now Miami's a good team. We're gonna slap them around. Very disappointed. The schedule. Christmas Eve, they really did not do your boy any favors because I want to go to that game. I don't know if that's going to happen because it's Christmas Eve, so I got to figure it out and see what's doing and see if we can get that game on the list. But Christmas Eve put a big wrench into it. Miami's going to be good. I have a feeling by the time we play him, Tua probably won't be in the game anymore. He'll probably be hurt. He's been hurt almost every year. So we'll see what Miami's got, but I don't know. I don't know if they got an answer for Parsons. I don't think they got an answer for Tank. It's going to be an old school battle. Miami and Dallas. That's again one of those rivalries. Maybe it's because my family, my brother's a Miami fan, but I don't know. Miami Dallas is always kind of a good interconference rival that always has that historic feel to it. And it always with Jimmy John. I was at that 96 game. I think it was 96 where Jimmy Johnson was coaching the Dolphins and we went in there and just really handed it to him. Obviously the Thanksgiving Day game with Leon Lett and the Dan Marino was coming back off an injury on a Thanksgiving Day game. And I think he got picked off 5 times. And I think Dion took one to the house. And I always remember they did the post game interviews and they asked Deion Sanders about Dan Marino and how his throws were because they said his throws were a little off and this and that. And he goes, I don't know. The one he threw to me was perfect, man. It was nice and soft, got me in a good spot, and I was able to take it to the house. So I love the Miami Dallas rivalry. Always something up with that game. It's always going to be something. Except when I was there the last time they came to AT&T, we just beat the hell out of them. But I think that was my son's first trip to AT&T, so that'll be good. That'll be good. So, yeah, I know I'll probably be there. I could sleep on the couch for a week if I have to. It's gonna be hard for me. Not 4 hours away, man. How do I not go? So I'm gonna figure it out. Buffalo. What are we talking about? Come to a Buffalo game. Oh my God! I went to the Bears game Sunday night. All I remember, they said it was the coldest game at Soldier Field. It was -7. you would get the beer and it would be frozen before you got to your seat. They were selling hot chocolate for like 10 or 12 bucks each, and they were selling more of that than they were beer. We got our asses kicked, for lack of a better word. They were doing something with Mike Ditka, I remember, at halftime. And that was the worst experience, the worst ever. And I told myself, I will never pay money to go to a stadium and freeze my ass off ever again because it's just too expensive. And yeah. So I don't think I'll be going to Buffalo. I'll watch it on TV. I'll be in the cave in the comfort of my home, and it'll be a good time. Let's see, Jimmy D can't take the heat, which means some gelato. Yeah, I don't know. He probably is, man. He's probably is. See what going on in the chat. Just watched that game a couple days ago. Oh man, some of them games. Some of them. I don't know if you guys. I don't know if the commotion by the ocean. They'll think of something. They'll think of a good catchphrase. I don't know if you guys do this. When I watch the games, NFL Network will put these old games on or whatever it is, and I watch it and I know what the ending's going to be, but I just somehow think that the ending's going to be a little bit different, but then it doesn't. And they usually show the games where we lose. They like to break our hearts. So, still believe Jimmy Johnson was still our coach in Dallas and would have won more Super Bowl, and we would have won more Super Bowls with Jimmy. Yeah. Oh, I mean, it is. But the thing I'll say, and I had Coach Switzer on, and we talked about it, and even Joe Washington, who played for Coach Switzer, we talked about it. Switzer was brought in a bad situation, obviously. I mean, you're talking about having to win over a locker room that just won 2 Super Bowls, that lost their coach, that led them to those 2 Super Bowls. The whole coaching staff, and Coach Campo was on the show too. We talked about it there. The whole coaching staff stayed. Now, that whole coaching staff, 90% of them or 99% of them were all from Jimmy Johnson back in Miami. All those guys came from Miami to there. So what Coach Switzer was able to do, they always say 500 coaches could coach that team. I don't believe it. And you can look in the NFL and you look at different coaches when they take over teams. Why do they sink so fast? Take Tampa Bay. Same roster, same everything. Arian goes, other coach comes in, team's not as successful. And then you look at other coaches, you could take Parcells in so many different ways, but like take the Dallas one. He takes that Dallas roster, makes a few tweaks, but I mean, he goes to the playoffs with Quincy Carter. That's miracle work, man. And nothing against Quincy Carter, but it was just he wasn't at that level that he needed to be. So I think what Switzer was able to do to win over that locker room and to keep everything the same and to be able to just roll with it. If you look at those teams where the Cowboys failed was the draft. Look at those drafts. I mean, of course, they got Larry Allen in 94, but look at those other picks they had. Shante Carver was one. They had Dwayne Goodrich was a pick. And then they traded picks out of desperation of getting receivers. They lost first-round draft picks there too. So it was really bad general manager, which at that time, Jerry Jones should have been fired, but he ain't going to fire himself. We all know that. So we're not beating a dead horse. So Barry Switzer, I guess what I'm saying is Barry Switzer did a pretty damn good job. Where I think Jimmy Johnson would have made the differences in the draft, and I think that was evident when Jimmy Johnson left. The draft went to shit, and it never really recovered until Parcells. They got another dominant guy. Now, if you look at the drafts recently, in the past with McClay, you can't blame the Cowboys' lack of success on the GM or the coaches, well, except for Garrett, of course. But I'm just the last few years with McCarthy, this team has been success. This team has a good roster. They just not have been able to get it done when it counted, whether it been, in the Romo years and early on in the Dak years, they just haven't been able to get it done. So I think, that's just my take on it. But I think the team's set up. But I think Barry Switzer doesn't get the credit, and I'm not saying he deserves any credit, but he was just put in a no-win situation. If he didn't win the Super Bowl, it was all going to be on him. If he won the Super Bowl, it was because of Jimmy Johnson's players, and da-da-da-da. So I think the right personality and the right person had to coach that team, because I think if they would have got someone else in there who was headstrong, who wanted to make a lot of changes, who was going to do all this, I think that team could have really imploded internally, and we wouldn't have had any Super Bowls. We would have been stuck with the two that Jimmy Johnson got. We won a lot of games. Yeah, if not. Turnovers 94 game. Yeah. And I mean, I tell you what, the amazing thing I'll say is with Coach Switzer, his memory, and you can listen to he talks about that 94 game. He talks about some games in between. His memory of the plays, the way they were set up, the offense or defense that was called, just everything that went in there is pretty. I mean, he's in his 80s, man. That's pretty damn remarkable. I have a hard time remembering yesterday. Yeah, sure. A horrible pick. Horrible pick. Oh, God. There was some bad, terrible picks that we had. And it's not on all Cowboys have been drafting better. No, I agree. I think the thing is, I think it's more collaborative effort. And I think with McCarthy, I think you're seeing what McCarthy the his stamp on the team. Getting Mozzie, that's not the sexy pick, but I think that was the right pick for this defense. I think Jerry Jones, had he controlled it all, he would have been looking for something sexy. It's the same thing, with a tight end. They're getting a lot of heat on that tight end. We'll see what happens. I'm going to put trust in these guys and what they're doing. But even Tyler Smith got annihilated for Tyler Smith. Boy, thank God we drafted Tyler Smith. Micah Parsons, everyone can say what they want, man. Go back and look at it. I did a Micah Parsons hype video when we drafted him. I'll just go back on YouTube and go look at the comments. Absolutely annihilated me, 90% or 70%, whatever it was of the people for that pick. So I trust McCarthy. Look at the drafts under McCarthy's watch. He's got to get a lot of that credit too. Now I give McClay, obviously leading the scouting and doing all that other stuff. You got to give credit to him too. And you got to give credit to Jerry Jones. I mean, if you're going to give him the blame, you got to give him some of that credit too. And I think he's kind of changed his ways because, like I said, that Manziel, I mean, Jesus, we would have had Manziel. Oh God, talk about going south fast. Thank God that didn't happen. What else we got? Yeah, bad drafts and Jimmy Johnson let draft Shante Carr, Kavika Pittman, Ebenezer Ekubon. Yeah, Dwayne Goodrich. Greg Ellis was solid. Randy Moss was the problem there, and Michael Irvin's talked about it for a while. If you really look at that year with Greg Ellis was a fine player. Now, when you compare him to Randy Moss, you're going to say, "Oh, that wasn't a great pick." But Greg Ellis, for a first round pick, he had a solid career with the Cowboys. He did what he needed to do. Michael Irvin takes blame for the Randy Moss, because if you think about it, that was the year Michael Irvin got in a lot of trouble, the fur coat in the locker room, or in the courtroom, and all that other stuff, was going on, and he had a lot of off the field issues. So that was really the problem with Randy Moss. Now you gotta overlook that kind of stuff, but when you got a talent like Randy Moss, but I think the Cowboys were getting so much negative pub, the White House, all this other stuff that was going with it. I just think that they got, yeah, to your point, I think Jerry Jones got cold feet in it. And yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. What do we got? Young new coaches are the way to go. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, Miami's coach, young and innovative, but boy, did they disappointed, and you can't say that wasn't a disappointing season for them. A lot of talent on that team. Went through some bad losses, bad stretches. I understand Tua got hurt and this and that, but yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think it's good to have a good mix. It just really depends on the coach, and what you get. I mean, I'll take a Belichick, I'll take a Pete Carroll. I mean, those are older coaches, and I'll take a McCarthy. So it just really depends on the situation. So, no kidding. Well, in spring we drafted Micah, hoping the cornerbacks would be gone. Yeah, and you think about it, and Surtain is I mean, he's a Pro Bowl, All Pro cornerback. So had he fallen to us, who knows where the team is? But that's not I mean, it wasn't bad. That wouldn't have been a terrible pick either. Yeah, David LaFleur. God, that was a blast from the past. That was another one. Luke Schoonmaker, best pick. No, I mean, I think he's going to be. I'm all in, Ultra man. You don't have to sell. You have to sell me on it. I think I'm gonna be excited to see what he can do, and I'm gonna trust you. Even though my man Ultra always hates on me, hates on some of these Cowboys. He does. I always give him credit. He brings some real takes. He brings a lot of knowledge. and sometimes, hey, he's gonna be brutally honest with you too. And I know he's not a Dak fan. He's definitely not a Tolbert fan. But it's up to these guys to prove those types of guys wrong. And Parsons, he quickly proved all the haters wrong. And there ain't not, you see a ton of Parsons jerseys in the stadium. Just goes to show that. So we've got a few more minutes. Please, no more joystick. Yeah, no, absolutely. Be interesting, McCarthy. Yeah, and I that's going to be, obviously with Schottenheimer, it's going to be a joint thing, but I think you're going to see McCarthy. He's going to put his stamp on it, and I think he's going to be scheming it. He's going to be doing it, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And hey, anyone on Facebook too, make sure you go out and subscribe on YouTube as well, because it does help us. So if you're on Facebook, shoot over to YouTube. That actually helps the channel. I mean, just hit the subscribe button, and if you watch it, if it's easier to watch on Facebook, that's fine. But it definitely helps. It helps the cause. But also smash that like button. Every time the like, it just keeps it going more and more and more. So it gets the word out. Tell all these Cowboy fans too about the channel. We're having a lot of fun. You don't have to be a Cowboys fan. We'll take some haters too. We just don't want the haters that talk the same old shit all the time. That's just a waste of time. Yeah, that was good, Rich. That was that was good, Rich. There was some bad drafts. I'm feeling good, man. Don't make me sad. Don't make me sad. So a couple more is gonna be the debate. Well, there you go. Wow, listen to Ultra. They're gonna prove you wrong. Schoonmaker, I mean, he looks like the real deal. Looks like the guy that fits best in this type of offense. Looks like a tight end that will fit into this offense well. So I think yeah. And I know you don't hate. It's playoff Dak is a problem. I love regular season Dak. Playoff Dak the last few years, and it's really, like I said, it's a 2 games. It's San Francisco. If you're going to say it, the San Francisco playoff Dak, we don't like. The Rams playoff Dak didn't do bad. The defense cost us that one. The playoff Dak against the Packers led us back in a 3rd and 19, which should have never happened. I still say we go in overtime, we win that game. We had all the momentum in that game. So it's really the 2 games against San Francisco. If you're going to really hate on Dak, that's the one you go to. So Cowboys will never be never high on Torrance. Has slow feet. Yeah, I mean, he played. I mean, who's Torrance? Oh, Torrance, talking about the offensive lineman. I'm sorry, I saw Terrence. My eyes. I got to get some glasses. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Dallas has done a great job drafting linemen. So if they didn't like Torrance from Florida, I will take their opinion on it. I think they've done pretty well. They've gotten a couple guys that I wonder why they're still on a team like ball. But we'll see what happens. But anyway, Cowboys Nation, man, this is it, man. Just kicking it for an hour. I love interacting. Love having a good time with you guys. Again, back here Monday live, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's not all Cowboys. We talk all sports. We're going to be talking some Miami Heat with Jimmy D if he's man enough to show up and see if he's repping the gear. We have a lot of fun with that, but we break down all sports. We still obviously talk some Cowboys, but we do everything with the NFL and all sports, NBA and all that kind of stuff. So definitely keep supporting the channel. And then, like I said, Thursday, Kelly K9 and I will be there, man. We'll be talking all Cowboys. We had many, the rookie camps going on. We got all this stuff going on. So I do appreciate it. Thank you for the support. I can't wait to get out to Cowboys Nation, man, and hang with you guys at AT&T. I'll be in Carolina, probably be down in Miami when it's all said and done. Thinking about going out to LA with the Chargers. I gotta forget it. I gotta remember this stuff. Panthers too. The best was a Toronto, all the chants, and we want Florida, and look what happened to them. So, hey, it's been a lot of fun. Happy Mother's Day. Go have a good time. I got to go get the chef's hat on. I got to get ready for a little barbecue, celebrating some graduation. So I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Jimmy Cullen, Nick Suck. You guys take care, man. We got to update some of this stuff, but I'll leave you with, obviously Hate on Eagles, one of my favorite hype videos. I'll see you guys. Make sure continue supporting the channel, like, subscribe, share, and have a great Sunday. Enjoy.
Eagles getting ready, because you might not like it, but you will learn to love it, because we are the best thing going today. Now, can you dig it?